So you just got an email, and this email is inviting you to interview for a work from home position that you don't quite remember applying to. And the email says that you're going to do an interview via Skype, or maybe it says Telegram. No, it says WhatsApp. Either way, it's an interview. It's the closest you've gotten to getting hired to work from home. So you're super excited and you're going to go for it. Now, after the interview has concluded, you're kind of feeling a little bit weird. Something's not quite right. And there are some red flags that have been raised in your mind, but you decide to just go along with it because after all, you're looking for a work from home job and here one it in your lap. So you go through with it. Now, your first assignment is to cash a check, and this check has a purpose. You're supposed to buy equipment, and then maybe you're supposed to send some to a third party.
More people working from home has led to more people falling for employment scams.
Contact Denver 7's Jacqueline Allen tonight looks into one involving LinkedIn because the scammers were pretending to be us.
LinkedIn is where people go to search for jobs, and Contact Denver 7 is learning firsthand it's also where scammers go to search as well.
These scams are becoming more and more prevalent.
This is Mike Kelly, the Chief Security Officer for Denver 7's parent company, Scripps.
People are working from home, so they're expecting to have more of these interviews conducted, not in person.
These screen grabs show scammers on LinkedIn posing as a Scripps Chief Administrative Officer on LinkedIn messaging, contacting someone for a job that doesn't even exist. And it didn't stop there. This sounds like it was pretty bold. They actually conducted the interview via Skype?
Via Skype, yeah. They actually went through an entire interview process and went back and forth for quite a while.
The job candidate tells me they offered her the job and she accepted. But when they sent her this check to pay for work from home supplies, that raised red flags.
So they send you a check to buy this equipment, but they send you too much money.
The Better Business Bureau says employment scams like these shot up during the pandemic, targeting people desperate to find work.
There's also, once you've gone through the interview, they ask for your bank account for direct deposit. That's also the most common reason. When you're on LinkedIn, you're looking for employment, and recruiters are common on LinkedIn as well. You know, you think, oh, it's just a recruiter reaching out to me, so you're not as suspicious.
To protect yourself, check to make sure messages come from a company's email, not a free account like Gmail, for example. Look on the company's website to verify if a job really exists. And watch for red flags like very quick job offers and asking for your personal financial information early in the onboarding process.
Now you see in the video, that person was contacted on LinkedIn. And this is one of the first tips that I can give you. You're not safe on any of these job websites. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, Monster, Simply Hired, and any other site that you can name. There is no site free from these online job scams. Another tip that I can give you guys is to check out a company online. Do a Google search, check their Glassdoor, look at their socials, anything you can find you want to check out, because that's going to help you figure out if you're actually talking to a legit company. The next thing that I always do is I always look at their email address and I take the part that comes after the @ symbol and I paste it into my web browser. This is going to help me know if I'm talking to someone who actually represents the company. All company business is conducted through their official channels, and that includes their email addresses. So a recruiter working for ABCD company is never going to email you from their personal email or from some Gmail or AOL or any other common domain email. They're going to email you from the company's official email because they're on official company business. They need to email you from the company using the company's email address. Okay. And then another tip that I can give y'all is to look up the recruiter on LinkedIn. Every single recruiter in 2020, whatever we're in and beyond, is going to be on LinkedIn. So if you cannot find them, then chances are they are not legit. And actually, if I don't find them at this point, I am stopping and I'm going to move on because they need to be on LinkedIn if they're a real recruiter. If you're confused about who it is that you're speaking with, it seems legit. A lot of websites will have a link or a email address where you can contact them directly and verify if you are talking to a recruiter. These scams are so common that companies have that in place because they know the bigger the company, the more likely they're to be impersonated. So if you see something like this message on any website where you're applying to a job, don't get scared. Be happy that the company is aware and that they're being proactive about all of the craziness going on out here. Now, finally, I do have to address, because people will ask, what happens if I cash the check and I don't send any money forward? You won't have anything happen. Your account's gonna go back to its original balance in about a day or two. The thing with these check scams is you have to have speed involved. You cash the check, you turn around and you send those available funds to the scammer, and they want you to do it right away. Because if you wait any longer than the first few hours or day that the check is cashed, your account is going to correct itself because the bank won't be able to clear it on their end. So they go ahead and make those funds available to you without them actually receiving the funds. But once they realize that there aren't any actual funds, you're going to see your account go back to its original balance. So if you cash a check, you go buy your equipment, and then you send some to the scammer, that check is not going to clear. Your account's going to go back to its original balance minus what you took out. You see where your balance is when it's all said and done. Now, what happens to the scammer, you might wonder? Well, the scammer oftentimes gets away scot-free. So what your bank's gonna do at this point is you're gonna have to repay that negative balance in your account. Or they might go ahead and close your account, or both of those things. And in some extreme cases, you could even be in trouble with the authorities. The key to being safe in your online job search is to always do your due diligence. Never go along with something just because it's the first thing that's come your way or it seems like a really great opportunity. There's a lot of red flags that have to be ignored. And this isn't to point any fingers at anyone, because honestly, it's the scammer who's in the wrong here. We just want to make an honest living working from home. But we always have some red flags come up. There's always some sort of reservation when we're dealing with these scam jobs. And oftentimes the communication is very poor. Either they don't follow up or the communication is riddled with typos. You can check the email address like I mentioned in the tip, and you also won't see them a lot of times. Most times they want to do things just via voice or text. And stay away from anything that has to do with WhatsApp or Telegram. And I would even say for Skype too. Most companies conduct interviews on either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Those are the two biggest platforms for doing online interviews. And sometimes a company might have their own internal platform, but again, you'll never have anything legit happen on Telegram or on WhatsApp. And I'm also throwing in Skype with that. And then every interview needs to have cameras on. So if your camera isn't on, or if the interviewer's camera isn't on, that's a no-go, okay? And you don't want to do anything just via text. Companies will text you for things like scheduling an interview or, following up on taking an assessment or doing the next steps, because it's a convenient way to remind you. But when it comes down to interviewing and making sure that you're the right candidate and that they are the right company, everyone's going to be on camera. It's going to be a legit interview, and they're going to send you an offer. And you want to make sure you review that offer. You're looking for anything that looks sketchy or typos or just something that's just not right. And that's how you're going to sign on with a company, and you're going to have your training start date from there. Another red flag is if they're asking you for personal information up front, such as bank account, routing numbers, things of that nature. It's just not necessary. If you haven't been onboarded and you aren't doing this during the correct onboarding step where you're getting payroll and benefits set up, then you know something is wrong and you know it's a scam. So just keep in mind that there's always a time and place for everything, and a company doesn't need to put a bunch of money in your face and ask you for your bank account information before you're even hired. And it does take time for companies to deliberate and choose a candidate. So a good interview question for you is to ask them, hey, what would be a reasonable timeline to hear back, if I'm going to get the job? Of course, you want to state it more eloquently. This is is going to give you an idea of when they're going to follow up with you. If you notice in the video we watched, they got back to the candidate ASAP. Like there was no deliberation time. They didn't need to talk to their colleagues or see where everyone else is at with their candidates. It was just like, yep, we're going to hire you. That's a bad sign. Okay, that's not a good thing. So just be smart, pay attention to the red flags, don't ignore anything, and use the methods that I mentioned in this video to vet these companies and to make sure you're talking to who you think you are talking to. So don't get involved in any type of check cashing scam. I know sometimes it just seems so frustrating when you're looking for an online job, nothing seems to be happening, and it seems like no one's trying to hire you. And then here comes along this super too good to be true, but you want it to be true opportunity. And guess what? If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, waddles like a duck, it's a duck, aka a scam in this metaphor, and you do not want to go along with it. So please don't get scammed, be smart, make sure you don't fall for any of the shenanigans that these scammers are out here doing, because they have gotten a lot of people, and you always want to do your due diligence to make sure that you're actually speaking to who you think you're speaking to. So now let's hear from y'all in the comment section below. Have you ever gotten scammed? Or do you think you might be currently talking to a scammer? Or maybe you stopped it and you peaked game really fast. Let us know in the comment section below. This has happened to a lot of people, so don't feel embarrassed. And I've actually been scammed online, but that's a story for another day. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope this has been helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.